The chime above the door rang softly as Amara straightened a row of diamond bracelets for the third time that morning. Crescent Lux wasn't just a jewelry store. It was the kind of place where the air conditioning felt expensive, where every mirror was polished until it looked like glass made of money. Amara had worked here for almost 2 years. 2 years of smiling at people who looked through her like she was part of the furniture. 2 years of taking orders from a manager who treated kindness like a weakness. "Amara," Mr. Collins' voice cut across the showroom floor. "Did you restock the display case, or are you just standing there decorating it with your face?" A couple of customers chuckled. Amara forced a smile. "Done, sir. Just finishing up." "Good. Try to look less, tired. We sell luxury here, not exhaustion." She nodded, swallowing the comment that wanted to come out. 2 years, she reminded herself. 2 more months until I can afford my own apartment. Just hold on. That's when the door chimed again, and the entire store seemed to shift. An elderly woman stepped inside. Her coat was faded gray, patched at one elbow. Her shoes were worn down at the heels, the kind of shoes that had walked many miles in many winters. She moved slowly, almost cautiously, like she wasn't sure she was allowed to be there. The whispers started immediately. "Is she lost?" one of the sales associates muttered, not bothering to lower her voice. "Security should really keep an eye on the door," another said, smirking. A well-dressed customer near the counter actually laughed out loud. "I didn't know Crescent Lux had a homeless shelter partnership now." The old woman heard every word. Amara saw it. The brief flicker in her eyes, the way her shoulders dropped just slightly, like someone absorbing a blow they'd taken many times before. But she didn't leave. She kept walking, slow and steady, toward the center display. Mr. Collins appeared instantly, his smile sharp and fake. "Ma'am, can I help you find the exit?" "I'd like to look at the necklace in the window," the old woman said quietly. "The one with the sapphire." A ripple of laughter went through the staff. Mr. Collins didn't even try to hide his smirk. "That necklace is $45,000, ma'am. Perhaps something from our gift section would be more suitable." "I understand," she said simply. "I'd still like to see it." Amara watched the woman's face. There was no anger there, no embarrassment even, just a quiet patience, like rain that had learned not to fight the wind. While everyone else turned away, already losing interest, Amara stepped forward. "I can show it to you," she said gently. "Right this way." The old woman looked at her, really looked, and something in her expression softened. "Thank you, dear." Amara unlocked the display case and carefully placed the necklace on a velvet tray. The sapphire caught the light, scattering small blue reflections across the glass counter. The old woman leaned in, studying it with quiet admiration, her weathered fingers hovering just above the stone without touching it. "It's beautiful," she whispered. "Reminds me of something I once had a long time ago." "It really is stunning," Amara agreed, and she meant it. Not the sales pitch kind of meaning it, but the real kind. From across the room, Mr. Collins called out, loud enough for the whole store to hear. "Amara, don't waste time playing tour guide. We have paying customers." The old woman's eyes flicked toward him, then back to Amara. "It's all right," she said softly. "I don't want to cause trouble for you." "You're not," Amara said firmly. "Take your time. Really." For a moment, the old woman just studied her. Not the necklace, but her. Amara's tired eyes, her patched cardigan under the store uniform, the way she stood a little straighter even though her shift had clearly drained her. Then the old woman said something strange, something Amara wouldn't understand the meaning of until much, much later. "You know," she said almost to herself, "kindness is like a seed. You plant it without knowing if it'll ever grow into anything. Most people walk past the soil. They don't even notice it's there." Amara blinked, unsure how to respond. "I guess that's true." The old woman smiled, a small, knowing smile, and looked back at the necklace one last time. "I'll take it," she said. "All of it. The necklace and the 2 bracelets beside it." The entire store went silent. Mr. Collins's head snapped around so fast it was almost comedic. Customers turned to stare. Even the other associates, who'd been gossiping in the corner, suddenly went quiet. For nearly $50,000 in jewelry, the woman who looked like she'd walked out of a thrift store had just placed an order like she was buying groceries. And nobody in that room had any idea what was about to happen next. Mr. Collins recovered fast, too fast, like a man who smelled a commission and had already spent it in his head. "All of it?" he repeated, practically gliding across the showroom floor. "Of course, ma'am, right away. Amara, wrap these up. Carefully now." Amara's hands were trembling slightly as she began boxing the necklace and bracelets. Not from nerves about the sale, but because, for the first time in 2 years, she felt like maybe kindness had actually meant something. Maybe this would prove to Mr. Collins that treating people with respect wasn't a waste of time. The old woman stood quietly at the counter, watching Amara work with steady, careful hands. "You have gentle hands," the old woman said softly. "That's rare these days." Amara smiled genuinely this time. "Thank you, ma'am." Mr. Collins hovered nearby, practically vibrating with excitement, already mentally calculating his cut of the commission. "Will that be card, ma'am? Or—" "Oh," the old woman said, almost as an afterthought. "I don't have my card with me today." The silence that followed was different from before. Heavier. "Excuse me?" Mr. Collins's smile froze in place. "I left my purse at home," the old woman explained calmly, as if this were a perfectly normal thing to announce after ordering $50,000 in jewelry. "I can come back tomorrow with payment if that's all right." For exactly 3 seconds, nobody moved. Then the laughter started. It began with one of the sales associates near the door, a sharp, ugly bark of a laugh that she didn't even try to cover. Then another joined in. Then a customer near the entrance, practically wheezing with amusement. "She doesn't have her purse," someone repeated like it was the punchline of the funniest joke they'd ever heard. "Oh my God, I knew it! I knew something was off the second she walked in." Should we call security, or is this just performance art? Mr. Collins's face had gone from excited to furious in record time, like a man who'd been personally insulted by the universe. "Ma'am, this is not a charity. You cannot simply walk into a luxury establishment, request our most expensive items, and then announce you have no means to pay." "I understand it looks strange," the old woman said, her voice still calm, though Amara noticed her hands had folded together tightly. "But I assure you, I'm not trying to deceive anyone. I simply forgot." "You forgot," Mr. Collins repeated, his voice climbing. "You forgot $50,000! More laughter. Someone in the back was recording on their phone now, clearly already imagining the views this would get online. "Homeless woman tries to buy $50,000 necklace, gets exposed." Amara felt something hot rise in her chest. Not embarrassment, anger. Anger at how quickly the room had turned, how eagerly everyone had been waiting for a reason to mock this woman, like sharks circling the moment they smelled blood. "It's okay," Amara said quietly, stepping slightly in front of the old woman, almost without thinking. "Mistakes happen. Maybe we can hold the items and she can come back." "Hold them," Mr. Collins's voice cracked with disbelief. "Amara, do you understand how store policy works, or have you been sleeping through every meeting for the past 2 years? I just think you're fired." The word landed like a slammed door. The laughter in the room died instantly, replaced by a wave of whispers and wide eyes turning toward Amara. "What?" Amara's voice came out smaller than she wanted it to. "You heard me. Pack your things and leave. Now, I won't have an employee who embarrasses this store by coddling." He gestured vaguely at the old woman, not even bothering to look at her. "This..." Amara's eyes burned, but she refused to cry. Not here, not in front of all these people who'd been waiting, practically hoping for something like this to happen. She untied her store apron with shaking hands and placed it on the counter. Then she reached into her own purse, the worn, second-hand one she'd carried for 3 years, and pulled out the small amount of cash she had. $60. It was meant for groceries this week. It was Frankly, almost everything she had until her next paycheck. Paycheck that, as of 30 seconds ago, no longer existed. She pressed it gently into the old woman's hand. "This isn't much," Amara said softly, "but maybe it'll help with a cab home. Please don't let them make you feel small. You didn't do anything wrong." The old woman looked down at the money, then up at Amara, and for just a moment her eyes glistened, not with embarrassment, but with something that looked almost like recognition. "You really don't have to do this," the old woman whispered. "I know," Amara said, "but I want to." Without another word, Amara turned and walked toward the exit, her back straight. Despite the stares, despite the whispers, despite the phone still recording her every step, the chime above the door rang as she pushed it open and stepped into the cold afternoon air, unemployed, broke, and utterly unaware that behind her, through the glass storefront, a black car had just pulled up to the curb. A driver in a sharp black suit stepped out, opened the rear door, and the old woman, without a single trace of embarrassment left on her face, walked toward it like she'd done it 1,000 times before. Inside Crescent Lux, Mr. Collins was still mid-rant about standards and professionalism when one of the sales associates near the window went pale. "Guys," she said slowly, "why's that car waiting for her?" Nobody had an answer, and nobody, especially not Amara, who was 3 blocks away by now, wiping tears from her cheeks, had any idea that this was only the very beginning. The black car glided through the city, leaving the noise of downtown behind. Through the tinted windows, the old woman watched the buildings grow taller, then sleeker, then eventually give way to gates, hedges, and long driveways lined with trees that looked like they'd been planted for decades just to frame this exact view. The car pulled up to a mansion that looked less like a house and more like something out of a magazine. White stone, floor-to-ceiling windows, a fountain in the courtyard that probably cost more than Amara's entire apartment building. The driver opened the door. "Welcome home, Mrs. Adiz." "Thank you, James," she said softly, stepping out with the same quiet dignity she'd carried through the entire ordeal at Crescent Lux. Inside, a tall man in a tailored navy suit was already crossing the marble foyer toward her, his expression shifting from professional composure to immediate concern the moment he saw her face. "Mom," Daniel Whitmore, CEO of Whitmore Holdings, a man whose name appeared on business magazine covers more often than his own family photos, crossed the room in a few long strides. "You're back early. What happened?" Mrs. Adiz allowed her son to guide her to a chair, but waved off his concern with a small, tired smile. "I'm fine, Daniel, truly, but I want to tell you about something I saw today." "What is it?" "I went to Crescent Lux," she said. "Dressed the way I usually dress when I want to see how people really treat others. Not how they treat the Whitmore name. How they treat people." Daniel's jaw tightened slightly. He knew this habit of his mother's well. She'd done it for years, ever since his father passed. "You learn more about a person's character in 5 minutes of dismissing someone than in 5 years of watching them shake hands," she always said. "And?" he asked carefully. "Most of them laughed at me," Mrs. Adiz said simply. "Mocked me. One man fired a young woman simply for being kind to me." Daniel's expression darkened. "Fired her? For what, exactly?" "For treating an old woman in a worn coat with respect," Mrs. Adiz said. "For offering to hold items I couldn't pay for on the spot. For giving me $60 from her own purse, money she clearly couldn't spare, so I could get home safely." The room went quiet for a moment. "She gave you money," Daniel repeated slowly. "A complete stranger who had just lost her job because of you." "Because of kindness, Daniel, not because of me. There's a difference, and that man at the store doesn't understand it." Daniel ran a hand through his hair, the way he did when he was thinking through something carefully, a habit he'd inherited from his father, though he didn't know it. "What's her name?" "Amara," Mrs. Adiz said. "I didn't get a last name, but James can find her. She'll have left an employee record at the store, even if she's no longer on payroll there." "Find her," Daniel said immediately, already pulling out his phone. Today, I want to meet her. Across town, in a small one-bedroom apartment that smelled faintly of instant noodles and stress, Amara sat on the edge of her bed, staring at her phone. 3 missed calls from an unknown number, a text from her landlord about rent, and $60 less in her account than she'd had that morning. It's fine, she told herself, though her voice cracked even in the privacy of her own head. You'll find something else. You always do. A knock at the door made her jump. She opened it to find a man in a black suit, the same driver from outside Crescent Lux, standing in her hallway with a small, polite smile. Miss Amara, he asked. My name is James. I work for the Whitmore family. Mrs. Adazi would like to speak with you if you have a moment. Amara blinked. I'm sorry. Who? The woman from the jewelry store earlier today, James clarified gently. She'd like to thank you properly. If you're available, I can drive you there now. Amara's first instinct was suspicion. This had to be some kind of mistake or a prank or something, but there was something about the man's calm, professional demeanor that made her hesitate. This isn't a joke, is it? She asked carefully. No, ma'am, James said. I promise you, it's very real. The drive to the Whitmore estate felt like driving into a different world. Amara pressed her forehead lightly against the window, watching the city blur past, then disappear entirely behind iron gates and manicured lawns. When the car finally stopped and James opened her door, Amara stepped out onto gravel that crunched satisfyingly beneath her worn sneakers. Sneakers that suddenly felt very out of place against the marble steps ahead. The front door opened before she even reached it. Mrs. Adiz stood there, dressed now in a simple but clearly expensive cardigan, her silver hair neatly pinned back. She looked different. Not poor, not desperate, just an elegant older woman standing in the doorway of what was unmistakably her own home. Amara, she said warmly, thank you for coming. Amara's mouth opened, then closed, then opened again. This is your house? It is, Mrs. Adazi said, stepping aside to reveal the foyer behind her and the tall man standing in it, watching Amara with an expression she couldn't quite read. Amara, Mrs. Adazi said gently, I'd like you to meet my son Daniel. Daniel stepped forward, extending his hand. Miss Amara, thank you for what you did for my mother today. I'd like to offer you a job. For the second time that day, Amara found herself completely speechless. 2 weeks later, Amara stood in front of the elevator on the 32nd floor of Whitmore Holdings, smoothing down her new blazer for the 5th time. Everything about this building intimidated her. The glass walls, the hush of expensive carpet, the way people walked like they were always heading somewhere important. She'd accepted Daniel's offer, but not without pushing back first. I don't want charity, she'd told him that first night. I want to actually earn whatever this is. Daniel had simply smiled. Good, because I'm not offering charity. I'm offering a junior position in client relations, based on the fact that you treated my mother with dignity when you thought she had nothing to offer you. That tells me everything I need to know about your character. The rest, you'll have to prove with work. Fair enough, Amara thought. She could work hard. She'd been doing it her whole life. What she hadn't prepared for was the whispering. That's her, she heard someone murmur as she walked past the break room on her first day. The one Mr. Whitmore personally hired. No interview, no application, just walked right in. I heard she's some charity case his mother picked up off the street, another voice added. Amara kept her eyes forward and kept walking. Let them talk, she told herself. Work hard, prove them wrong. By the end of her second week, the rumors had evolved, and not for the better. You know how she really got the job, right? Amara overheard one afternoon, ducking briefly behind a filing cabinet when she recognized her own name. Mrs. Whitmore's assistant said she's been seen having lunch with Daniel, like, alone, multiple times. No way. I'm telling you, she's playing the long game. Sweet little nobody charms the CEO's mother, works her way into his office. Amara's chest tightened. The lunches had been Mrs. Daisy's idea. The older woman had taken a genuine liking to her, often inviting her for tea and quiet conversation about nothing in particular. Gardens, old recipes, stories from when Daniel was a child. It had nothing to do with Daniel at all, but try explaining that to a room full of people who'd already decided who you were. The person leading most of these conversations, Amara would soon learn, was a sharp-eyed woman named Vanessa Cole, head of HR, impeccably dressed, and someone who'd apparently had her sights set on becoming Mrs. Whitmore for the better part of 3 years. Vanessa cornered Amara by the printer one morning, smiling the way a cat smiles at something smaller than itself. "You're settling in well, I hear," Vanessa said sweetly. "Funny how fast some people climb when they know the right people." "I'm just doing my job," Amara said evenly, refusing to take the bait. "Of course you are." Vanessa's smile didn't move. "Just a friendly piece of advice? Don't get too comfortable. People like Daniel get bored of charity projects eventually." Amara said nothing, but that night, lying awake in her apartment, the words stuck with her more than she wanted to admit. The breaking point came during a quarterly board meeting. Amara had been asked, at Daniel's request, to present a small client retention report she'd put together in her first month, something Daniel had genuinely been impressed by during a casual review. Halfway through her presentation, the boardroom door opened and Vanessa walked in, holding a folder. "I'm sorry to interrupt," Vanessa said smoothly, "but I think the board should see this first." She placed several printed documents on the table, confidential client contracts, the kind that absolutely should not have left HR's secure files. "These were found in Amara's desk this morning," Vanessa said, her voice dripping with practiced concern. "I hate to bring this up during a meeting, but given the sensitivity, I felt the board needed to know immediately." The room went silent. Every head turned toward Amara. I've never seen those before," Amara said, her voice rising in panic. "I don't even have access to those files." "Security logs show your badge accessed the file room twice this week," Vanessa said calmly, sliding another printout across the table. "I'm not accusing anyone of anything. I just think, for everyone's protection, Amara should be suspended pending an investigation." Several board members exchanged uncomfortable glances. Amara felt the room tilting slightly, her ears ringing. Daniel's jaw was tight, his eyes fixed on the documents in front of him. "Vanessa, this is a serious accusation." "Which is exactly why I brought it to the board immediately instead of trying to handle it." "Quietly," Vanessa said, her eyes flicking briefly toward Amara with something that almost looked like satisfaction. "I didn't do this," Amara said, her voice barely above a whisper now. "I swear I didn't." "I think," one of the older board members said carefully, "given the nature of the documents, a temporary suspension is the responsible step, for everyone's sake, including Amara's." Daniel looked like he wanted to argue, but the weight of the room, the optics of defending someone against hard evidence in front of the entire board, made even him hesitate for just a fraction of a second. That hesitation was all it took. "Amara," he said quietly, not quite meeting her eyes, "I think it's best if you take a few days while we sort this out." Amara nodded numbly, gathered her things with shaking hands, and walked out of the boardroom, past rows of curious, judging faces, feeling exactly the way she had 2 weeks ago walking out of Crescent Lux.